A mother's love knows no bounds, even when the world turns its back. On a freezing, rain-soaked road, a dying dog clung to life, while strangers walked past filming her suffering. But then, one woman did the unthinkable. This is the story that shattered my heart and changed everything. Have you ever witnessed an animal in trouble? What did you do? Drop your stories in the comments below. I read every single one. And if this video moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to join our community of heroes who believe no act of kindness is ever too small. Together, we can make sure no cry for help goes unheard. The rain fell in relentless sheets, turning the streets into glistening mirrors of gray. Luna, a golden retriever with fur matted from the downpour, clutched her tiny pup, Leo, gently between her teeth as she trotted across the slick road. Her muscles trembled, not just from the cold, but from exhaustion. She had been searching for shelter, somewhere safe and dry for her little one. The weight of Leo in her jaws was a constant reminder of her duty. Protect him, no matter what. A sharp gust of wind howled, nearly knocking her off balance. She tightened her grip on Leo, his small body warm against her tongue. Just a little farther, just past this road, and they would find cover. But fate had other plans. The roar of an engine cut through the drumming rain. Luna's head snapped up. A car, moving too fast, skidded on the wet pavement, its tires screaming against the asphalt. Her instincts screamed at her to run, but it was too late. The world erupted in a blur of metal and pain as the car struck them. The impact sent Luna crashing onto the road, Leo tumbling from her mouth with a sharp yelp. Pain exploded through her body, white-hot and suffocating. She tried to lift her head, tried to crawl toward Leo's whimpers, but her limbs refused to obey. The car door opened. A man stepped out, his face unreadable. He glanced at them, Luna, struggling to breathe, Leo, shivering and crying, then dragged their limp bodies to the side of the road like discarded trash. Without a word, without even a glance back, he drove away. The rain kept falling. Leo, dazed and trembling, crawled toward Luna, nudging her with his tiny nose. "Mama! Wake up!" his whimpers begged, but Luna's eyes were half-closed, her breath shallow. Around them, the world moved on, indifferent to their suffering, and the storm raged on. The rain continued its mournful rhythm, soaking Luna's fur and turning the pavement beneath her into a cold, unfeeling mirror. Leo's tiny body trembled as he pressed against his mother, his whimpers lost in the sound of passing cars. Around them, life moved on. People hurried under umbrellas, their footsteps splashing through puddles without pause. Then, a woman in a bright yellow raincoat stopped. She gasped, pulling out her phone. The flash lit up the scene for a brief second. Luna's limp form, Leo's desperate nudges, before she snapped a photo and walked away, murmuring to herself, "How tragic." A man in a business suit slowed his steps, frowning at the sight. He adjusted his glasses, opened his mouth as if to say something, then shook his head and continued toward the crosswalk. "Someone should call animal control," he muttered, but his phone remained in his pocket. Leo's cries grew louder, his paws patting Luna's face as if trying to rouse her from a deep sleep. His small, round eyes darted between the passing strangers, pleading in a language only the heart could understand. "Help us, please." A group of teenagers approached, their laughter cutting through the rain. One of them pointed. "Oh my God, look at that dog." Another pulled out her phone, zooming in on Luna's labored breathing. "This is gonna go viral," she giggled, fingers tapping the screen. Leo barked, a tiny broken sound. But no one knelt down, no one reached out. Then footsteps, fast, urgent. Mira's breath came in ragged gasps as she sprinted toward them, her own umbrella abandoned somewhere behind her. She didn't hesitate, didn't even pause to take a picture. Her hands, warm and steady, cradled Luna's head as she checked for a pulse. Leo looked up at her, his eyes wide with a mix of fear and fragile hope. "I've got you," Mira whispered, gathering them both into her arms. Around them, the crowd kept walking. But finally, someone had stopped. Mira's arms burned with exhaustion as she clutched Luna's limp body closer, Leo pressed tightly against her chest. The rain blurred her vision as she stumbled forward, her shoes splashing through deepening puddles. Every passing car that ignored her waving arms felt like another knife twisting in her heart. "Please, someone help us." Her voice cracked under the weight of desperation. Luna's breathing had grown shallow, her golden fur matted with rain and blood. Leo whined pitifully, his tiny claws digging into Mira's sweater as if afraid she might disappear too. The cold seeped through Mira's clothes, but she barely noticed. Her entire world had narrowed to the fragile life in her arms. A taxi sped by, its yellow light glowing mockingly in the downpour. Mira's knees nearly buckled when she saw brake lights flash further down the road. A door slammed. "Get in! Now!" Rohan's voice cut through the storm like an answered prayer. Mira barely registered the stranger's face as she collapsed into the back seat, cradling her precious cargo. The car smelled of pine air freshener and wet leather as it lurched forward. "Faster, please," Mira choked out, her fingers stroking Luna's head. The dog's eyes fluttered open for just a second, a brief spark of amber in the dim light, before closing again. Leo licked at his mother's face, his entire body shaking with each hiccuping cry. Rohan's knuckles whitened on the steering wheel as he swerved around slower vehicles. The wipers fought a losing battle against the torrential rain, the rhythmic thumping matching the frantic beat of Mira's heart. Each red light felt like an eternity, each intersection a potential death sentence. "Hold on, sweet girl," Mira whispered into Luna's ear, her tears mixing with the rainwater on the dog's fur. "Just hold on a little longer." The neon sign of the veterinary clinic finally appeared through the downpour, its bright red letters bleeding color into the wet night. Mira was out of the car before it fully stopped, her scream for help shattering the clinic's quiet lobby. As the doors swung shut behind them, the storm raged on outside, but inside the real battle for life had only just begun. The sterile scent of antiseptic clung to the air as Mira paced the waiting room, Leo curled in a trembling ball on her lap. Days had passed since that terrible night, days filled with hushed conversations with veterinarians, nights spent jumping at every phone call. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, casting harsh shadows that made the clock's ticking seem louder than it should. Then, the door swung open. "Miss, you can see her now." Mira's breath caught as she stood, Leo instantly perking up in her arms. The little pup's nose twitched, his entire body tensing with some primal understanding. The hallway stretched before them like the last mile of a marathon, each step filled with equal parts hope and terror. Luna lay on a padded blanket in the recovery room, her breathing steady but slow. The cone around her neck made her look fragile in a way that broke Mira's heart anew. But when those familiar amber eyes opened, really opened, the world seemed to right itself. Leo squirmed free before Mira could stop him. The tiny pup hit the ground running, his nails clicking frantically against the tile. Luna's head lifted with sudden urgency, her tail thumping weakly against the blanket. A sound escaped her throat, half whine, half sob, as Leo crashed into her, burying his face in her neck. Mira sank to her knees, her hands covering her mouth. Luna's tongue moved in slow, deliberate strokes across Leo's back, his face, his ears, as if memorizing every inch of him. The cone made it awkward, but she persevered, her entire body trembling with the effort. Leo wiggled closer, his contented sighs punctuating each lick. The vet cleared her throat softly. "She's been waiting for this," she murmured, adjusting Luna's IV line. "Every time we checked her vitals, she'd look toward the door. Mira reached out, her fingers sinking into Luna's fur as the dog turned to lick her hand, too. The gratitude in those sunlit eyes was more than words could convey. In that moment, the beeping monitors faded away, the sterile walls dissolved, and all that remained was this perfect, unbreakable circle of love. Leo yawned widely, his eyelids drooping as he nestled against his mother's chest. Luna rested her chin atop his small body, her own eyes finally closing in peace. The storm had passed. They were home. Years later, on another stormy afternoon, the sound of rain against the windows drew Leo's ears upright. He was no longer the trembling pup from that terrible day. His legs were strong now, his coat a burnished gold like his mother's, but some memories never faded. He turned his head toward the living room, where Luna lay curled on her favorite blanket by the fireplace. Time had softened Luna's muzzle with gray, and she moved more slowly these days, but her eyes still held the same quiet wisdom. When the first rumble of thunder shook the house, Leo trotted to her side and pressed close, just as he had as a puppy. Luna didn't startle. She simply lifted her head and licked his ear once, as if to say, "I'm here." Mira paused in the doorway, a tray of tea steaming in her hands. She watched them, her throat tightening. Some wounds leave scars deeper than the skin, but so too does love. The firelight flickered over the framed photo on the mantel. A younger Luna, bandaged but determined, curled around a tiny Leo in the animal hospital. Beside it sat the newspaper clipping. Local woman's rescue inspires community change, and the small plaque from the shelter where Mira now volunteered. Outside, the rain fell, but it no longer sounded like sorrow. It was just rain, ordinary, life-giving, washing the world clean. Leo sighed and rested his chin on Luna's back, his tail thumping when Mira joined them on the rug. And when Luna lifted her paw to place it over both their hands, one furry, one human, Mira knew. Some bonds are forged in storms, but they are lived in the quiet afterward, in the warmth of shared breath, in the peace of a heartbeat against yours, in the certainty that no matter how hard the rain falls, you are no longer alone. The fire crackled, the storm passed, and in that house, in that moment, there was only this, a family shaped by loss but defined by love, finally safe.